this morning we're doing the Road Commission budgeting webinar. We're going to be real quick though for our basic webinar rules. If you have any questions, type them in chat, and Jeff will interrupt me when we have questions that come in. And then of course at the end we'll have an open Q&A, so any topic you may want to go there. And if we don't get to everyone's answer, we'll definitely try to send you an email to talk about it if it's something a little more complicated that we can't just quite do quickly. All right, on to creating a road commission budget. Woohoo! That's all we're going to be doing today, so it should be pretty quick. All right, let's see now. I need to forward pro fund accounting. And we're into budget calc. Now this budget calc is kind of a big animal, and it's got a lot of features and functionalities to it, but it is something you have to kind of plan ahead for. So make sure before you kind of start, you kind of have an idea of what it is you're looking for. So basically, to start with, you come in here and you click on a new report. You give your report some titles, so we're going to call ourselves Demo for RC. And if you want to put a second line in there, you can say, I got the caps lock on. Then it asks you a question if you want to have the report to be printed with alternating lines. So if you wanted, a red line, we're going to turn that on. You can come back and turn that off later if you want. All right, so the next thing you do after setting it all up is you have to start adding columns. So you come into edit and you add a column. Now usually the first column that is in here automatically, this is for your row titles. And then the first column you're going to add, let's just make this a budget column. We want to print it. And then we have whether we want to apply the benefit percentage, the row percentage, or an admin percentage. We don't really want to provide that on the budget because it's just a straight budget. So we're going to name this column. And then you've got some options here by including it by account type, source of entries. You can exclude it, and then you can do some really special things with an SQL query string. And you can set a formula on a column. But today, we're just going to do a straight budget amount, and we'll set the date for that budget to be the fiscal year today. And it's going to say there's no lines defined, but the first thing you want to do is get your columns across. So we're going to put in another column. This column will be financial. We're going to call this one the actual. And in this case, we're going to set our date range to the fiscal year to date. And then we'll add another column. This one, variance. And this one's going to be quantitative. In other words, it's going to be like a formula. And we're just going to take the budget amount and we're going to subtract the actual amount. Okay, and then our final column, to be real simple, will be another quantitative amount, and this will just be called the percentage. And basically, again, it's just another formula. So we'll take the actual to a percentage of the budget. Okay. So that's going to be our basic report. Usually what I tell people to do is once they get the column set up, go ahead and do a save. We'll call this one Demo 2. I don't have really great names. All right, now we want to start adding lines or the actual data to it. So we're going to go in here and we're going to say add a line. And this line, we're going to call this one A510. And it asks us, there's a lot of options you have in here. You can do subtotals and printing and just a title only. But for the moment, we're just going to do a single spacing A510 line. And then it's asking you what percentages do you want to add to the data that comes from that. And we're just going to we're going to go back because my database is a little old. I'm going to go back to 2018. So I have good data to show them. So that's the A510. And then I'm going to insert another line, and this is going to be my A900. So we're going to kind of look at equipment information to start with. And that's the same thing. Okay, so now for the budget amount, this is going to be a fixed amount. So we're going to edit that. We right click on the cell, if you would, and then we're going to make this a fixed amount, and we're going to put in 2 million. And for the A900, again, it's going to be a fixed amount, and it's going to be 1 million. I think that's right. Yeah. So that basically, then you hit recalculate, and it's going to show you basically I've spent none of my budget so far, total variance. So again, I tell people to save regularly. So we're going to save this budget report again, just so that it's up to date to this point. And now we're going to try to get the actual part put in. So we click edit, and we're going to go for an account range. And this was the A510, so A510. Now, if we want to use all the sub-accounts underneath A510, we just put the 4 dashes there, I think. But as you can see, I mean, you can put a whole, you could really do a lot in here as far as what ranges you want. But we're just going to look at everything in the A510 just as an example. Then it asks if I want to propagate this across, and of course, if I had like if I had like a month in here and I had like last year's date, you do want to do that propagate. So I said yes anyways. I usually just do yes, and then I fix anything I need to fix later. But given that these columns are just percentages and stuff, it doesn't really hurt them. So then we'll go to the A900. We'll do the same thing. It's an account range. Okay, so if we recalculate, it's asking for the fiscal year of 2018, and we bring in our actual data. So that's really all there is to making these things. You just keep adding lines if you want, specifying different account ranges. There's a slew of other types of columns you can do. There is in our system already under the help, if you go to the budget report text help, there is a good, reasonable explanation of a lot of these things in the help system. So I didn't really want to cover what this already covers, if you know. But I just wanted to get everybody to see it, to see how it works. The big things you want to do is, save often. So you can come back if you make a mistake or something isn't working right, you can at least save it. Sometimes you want to save it as to make a copy. So you can say file, save as, and call this one, demo 3. So simple like that. If you want to change dates, you can change dates. you know, there's just, like I said, there's a lot of options in here, and I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time covering them all. I just wanted everybody to know this isn't that hard. I mean, sometimes people say, oh, it's so hard to use. It really isn't hard to set up. You just have to make sure you've planned ahead what it is you want to do. Because obviously, like everything, when you stare at a blank page, it's always like, oh, I don't know what to do. So if you sit down with, you know, something, either Excel or Word or whatever you have, to figure out what kind of columns you want, what you want in the columns, and then, of course, what row data do you want to see. Once you have that outline, then, you know, setting it up in here is really pretty straightforward. Then you have this for, you know, year after year after year. So if you come back and do a recalculate and you wanted to see what the 2019 looked like, it'll give you your 2019 numbers. Okay, so that's really all I have. Wow, that was quick. I will open it up to any questions about this. If you want to see more, that's fine. If you can print them. So when you go to the print, this is what it looks like. And you can, I think you can go up to 20 columns wide is the limit. And of course, the number of rows is unlimited. You can have as many rows as you want. All right, I'm open for questions. I'll leave this up because I'm assuming the questions are going to be about this. Do we have any questions?
Okay, so from Stephanie, are there any templates already set up? And can the row commission share templates if they've already created one?
You can share them, but again, it's going to be, you know, count specific. So like some places don't use A510, they just use 510, or some places don't use the A's in there, there's just a straight. But certainly this saves out to a flat file. If we go look, if we just go to save as, it puts it in the My Documents area. It's called a BGR file. And it's just simply a text file. And as long as you have a BGR file, you can open up any BGR file you want. And it'll open, it may give a couple of errors because the account numbers are wrong and you just got to patch those account numbers. But once you do that, then of course, whatever they've done for the math and the settings will do that. We don't have any to start with. This is what, you know, I don't know if you've heard about the Julie's budget packages, but this is what Julie had a whole set of these packages she developed for Saginaw County Road Commission years ago. And, you know, they all use the budget calc to generate their numbers and then move it. There's a nice, easy way to move this into an Excel as well.
In your example, can you show detail for like A510 detail for a date range within the overall date range?
And a detail in the date range for the overall date range. Meaning, can you do a drill down?
Like first 6 months.
You could set up another column to do that. But I don't think you can do the sub detail of that.
It says okay, but not detail.
Right. I mean, you can go down and add a line to make detail. I mean, I'm not sure when you say detail if you're looking for the actual transactions.
Yes.
No, this is basically this is kind of like a budgeting thing where you're not really looking at individual information. You're looking at the whole picture usually. So if you wanted to write up a budget for every one of your pieces of equipment, you certainly could do that. You could come in here instead of just saying A510, you could go in your account lines all the way down to the individual piece of equipment. So if I add another line real quick. Oh, I'm on, hang on. So if I were to add a line, I don't know pieces of equipment, so I'm gonna have to look that up in a minute, hang on. Assuming there's a truck 303 in here. There, that would just be like, you do something like that for the one piece of equipment for if there was a 303. Like I said, I don't know if there's a 303. I'll go ahead and put this in. And we'll see. Nope, doesn't look like there's an actual 303 piece of equipment.
Brett says you forgot to make an account range.
Oh. I did, doggone it.
And then we have a question. Heather.
Yeah, I don't think I have a 303. Let me see if I can find real quick a piece of equipment that this thing has. Let me file save this. All right, let's see about 046. Sounds like a plan, everybody. See if I can find some data. Four, 6. Well, anyway, it's probably retired. Okay, well, that would show you how you could get like one piece of equipment if you're looking to try to do one piece of equipment. You just basically specify the full account number. I'm not sure if that answers that detailed question.
Moving on. So Heather has a question.
Yep.
Do we have any plans in the future to create a more integrated budget platform?
Yes.
She says maybe something like a state trunk line budget, but on a larger scale.
Yes.
It would be nice to get away from using Excel for budgeting and not have to transfer those numbers from cogitator reports to Excel all the time.
Correct. Yes. Absolutely is in the plans.
Great.
All right, well, thanks for coming in and watching our quick little video on budget calc. Again, if you have any issues, just feel free to call us.